My name is Pastor Hal York, and welcome to Truth in the Trenches. Today we're going to be in Proverbs chapter 20, verse 10. A few months ago, we considered Proverbs 11, verse 1, where it says, "A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight." In Proverbs chapter 20, verse 23, it says, "Unequal weights are an abomination to the Lord, and false scales are not good." And our verse for today is chapter 20, verse 10, where it says, "Differing weights and differing measures, both of them are an abomination to the Lord." Here we see in our verses similar statements. Our verse today talks about a false balance or differing weights, or two different kinds of weights. And why you would have two different kinds of weights is one is for buying and one is for selling. And basically, to boil it down, is you have two different weights to make sure that no matter what you do, whether you're buying something or selling something, you always come out ahead in your dealings with other people. It's called stealing. It's called dishonesty. It's called selfishness. A weight is a standard of measure. It's established by the government. A pound of sugar in Nova Scotia is the same as a pound of sugar in British Columbia. But it's measured out on a balance scale. You have one side. We've seen all those scales before, where one side you put something on it, then you balance it out by putting the same equal weight on the other side. So if you have a pound weight on one side and you want a pound of sugar, you keep pouring the sugar on the scale till it balances out. Then you know you have a pound of sugar. It's a very simple transaction. You give people what they pay for, and you get what you paid for, and everybody's happy. What could possibly go wrong? It just seems so simple. But sin and greed and selfish desire always complicate things. It's sort of like today. Every phone call we get from someone trying to sell us something is not a scam. But we need to be aware that they are out there, and it's hard not to assume that every phone call is a scam. But such was the case back then. Not everyone was trying to cheat you, but some were, so you always needed to be aware. Paul told Timothy that the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. What is at the heart of different kinds of weights? It's the love of money. And when you love money, consumers are just seen as patsies, people you can take advantage of. What's best for me is all that matters. And what's best for them is irrelevant. Whereas an honest business person, he's most satisfied when he gets a fair price and the consumer gets a good product, or what they expected. And when that happens, everybody is happy. But obviously, buying and selling is what makes the world economy work. And at the heart of that system has to be honesty. This is not just when it comes to transactions for goods and services, it's also our work ethic. What is your measurement for an honest day's work? Does 9 to 5 mean 9 to 5? Does it mean working hard, giving your employer an honest day's work for the wages he's giving you? You get paid for 8 hours. Did you work 8 hours? The other side, did you pay your workers fairly? They worked 9 hours. Did you still pay them for just 8? But I think primarily this verse has to do with selling things for more than you know they are worth. Using false measurements, false advertising, false representations of what something will do are all forms of dishonesty. And if you're doing business and you bring false weights with you, you are obviously planning to be dishonest. God sees you, and he knows your plans, and he knows your heart, is what this verse reminds us. God takes notice of how we conduct our business, whether it's business in the billions or your yard sale on a Saturday morning. How we interact with others, whether it's buying or selling. Are we honest? Obviously, people don't like to be cheated, but these verses say to those who are being dishonest in your dealings with others, how seriously does God take this? God calls it an abomination. An abomination. It's not some small picadillo sin. It's a big deal in God's eyes. But sadly, in our world today, we're living in a dishonest culture, and dishonesty is a reality. It's almost expected sometimes. And so people become cynical and they're afraid to trust people. But the point I think I'd like to make, and I think this verse makes, is that believers, we should be leading the way when it comes to honesty in our dealings with people. We should be seen and known as people who can be trusted when it comes to financial transactions, when it comes to an honest day's work, when it comes to doing what we said we would do. We don't have two different standards of measurement, so we always come out ahead, whether we're buying or selling. Our desire should be to be honest. We should be able to go to church with that person we just had a transaction with and sit beside them with a clear conscience and worship the Lord together. Proverbs chapter 12, verse 17 says, "Whoever speaks the truth gives honest evidence, but a false witness utters deceit." And I think Paul gives us some wonderful instruction in Ephesians chapter 5, verses 6 to 10. "Let no one deceive you with empty words, for because of these things the wrath of God comes upon the sons of disobedience. Therefore, do not become partners with them. For at one time you were darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light." Well, what does that mean, walk as children of light? Well, he tells us in verses 9 and 10. "For the fruit of light is found in all that is good and right and true." Think about that. "And try to discern what is pleasing to the Lord." Verse 10. The fruit of the light is found in what is good and right and true. Trying to discern what is pleasing to the Lord. That's the fruit of walking in the light with Christ. And that will be evident in every aspect of our life, especially in how we deal with others. When we're selling them something, when we're buying something, we want everybody to come out and get what they're due and what is fair and what is just and what is good. And that should be our desire in all our dealings with one another and with others. So I pray this truth will guide us and guard us in the trenches of life as we seek to live our lives for the glory of God and the good of others. May God bless.